I'm not going to comment on the details of the case that has now been settled. In any of these issues, whoever's involved, my starting point is always the same, which is to think about the victims of sexual abuse.
I think it's a huge relief for Prince Andrew and his team, and probably the whole royal family. Obviously, there've been a lot of brinkmanship over the past few weeks between Miss Giuffre and Prince Andrew's legal team. But I think everyone ultimately was expecting that a settlement would ultimately be reached. And I think it's a good day for Prince Andrew and his team that one has been reached in principle. Well, there's going to be very little that he can say about this case going forward because it will be subject to very strict confidentiality provisions. So I think probably his team is hoping that he'll be able to say is the agreed statement that's been issued and not much more. So I think it's going to be trying to focus on more positive things like supporting victims and doing what he can to move away from this incident. But I think that I mean my best advice would be to keep a low profile for a significant amount of time, and then in the future maybe look to do some more charity work, etc. in the future. But I suspect it's going to be a very long process before there's any attempt to sort of formally rehabilitate his position and give him a public facing role again.
Do you support Rachel Maskell's attempt to have the Duke of York drop his title and the connection to the city?
Look, I'm not going to comment on the details of the case that has now been settled. In any of these issues, whoever's involved, my starting point is always the same, which is to think about the victims of sexual abuse. Across the world, there are many, many victims, and we should always start from that perspective. So, whatever the rights and wrongs of this settlement, and it does seem to end a sorry chapter, I think it's very important that we don't lose sight, don't lose focus on the victims of sexual abuse.
Do you think he should be allowed to keep his affiliation to the city and keep that title, Duke of York?
Well, I'm not going to comment on the details of it, but I think that the focus has to be on the victims of sexual abuse in this case.
I'm here.
Came down